Welcome to Media Rebel Unplugged, where real women after the grind share their conversations with us about their wins, failures, and their wild stories about surviving, rebelling, and sometimes just keeping it together with lip gloss and a whole lot of caffeine. I'm Janice Becker, founder and CEO of Media Rebel, single mom, digital expert, entrepreneur, and all-around rebel. Joining me is my co-host, the unstoppable director of social media and events, Alyssa Ginther. Join us as we dive into the rebellion, and don't forget to subscribe and share our podcast.
Welcome to Media Rebel Unplugged. I am the CEO, founder, and host, Janice Becker, and I am joined with my co-host and beautiful director of social media and events, Alyssa Ginther.
What's up?
We thought we would create our first episode to kind of explain exactly who we are, if we can, and why we decided to do this. So we are a digital marketing agency, but we didn't want to be like the hundreds of other digital marketing agencies out there doing a boring podcast. We wanted to be more relatable and our true selves, how we are after the grind, day after day. We have a really great lineup of guests that will be joining us in the coming episodes. We have experts in PR and communications, creative business owners that specialize in many different things like health, wellness, tumble.
Yeah, I would say dance and movement. We've got, animators, producers, talent agents, you name it, we got it. Fitness experts.
Football Hall of Fame. So we're excited to have them come on and join us, and hopefully you will be able to connect with us and kind of see that you are not alone in your day-to-day life. You can identify a little bit of your crazy with our crazy.
There's enough to go around, don't worry.
We're going to be launching a few first episodes that will be, I think I've already mentioned PR communications, but also with ADHD and anxiety, something that we're very familiar with.
Very much so.
Which I think you kind of have to be in the business world, and especially as a woman in this day and age that's running in a million different directions. All right, so let's start with how Alyssa and I know each other. So we met 7 years ago when I was her new digital sales manager for a wonderful paper owned by Ginther, otherwise known as USA Today. Mm-hmm. And we have formed a friendship over the 7 years. So I think we have a really good balance between being boss and being friend. Alyssa, I think, got a hard dose of reality this year when we brought on her best friend as our inside sales specialist.
Yeah. It's a nice balance to have. It's a line you teeter, like tight roping, which I'm not good at. I'm uncoordinated.
Yeah, but I think it's I think you've had enough practice with our kind of relationship over the past 7 years, and just like there's times that I'll come to Alyssa and I'll be like, hey, I'm coming as your friend right now, so boss mode's turned off. And there's other times when it's like, okay, I'm your boss and we need to get these things done.
I think creating that line, though, of like, hey, this is a friend topic, not a boss topic, goes a long way. Because, like, you get comfortable with people, and then, like, especially if you are in a friendship, they're like, oh, yeah, we're friends, it's fine. Like, we can just let it slide. And you're like, no, I have to, like, make that definitive, like, line. Hey, this is boss time right now. This is what we need. Mm-hmm. And then you can be like, okay, yeah, but now we're back to friends, so it's fine, whatever.
Right, and I think, too, like, when somebody is in the boss mode is that the friend has to be careful to not be easily offended. Yeah. Because it's not that I'm trying to be mean as a person. I'm always very thoughtful of your feelings and your thoughts, and it means a lot. But, I don't want to also be, like, in friend zone all the time either. And I think you understand that, because there were some times where you're like, okay, I need you to go do this email now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the tightrope. You have to make sure that there's that balance. So, people aren't offended, but I think acknowledging when you're having those conversations of like, hey, this is friend time now, mm-hmm. and then taking that step back and being like, okay, boss mode, we need to get shit like done, right. Get it accomplished, so that we can go back to friend time, and just having those balances, the scales. I think that it helps out a lot, and I think it's easier most of the time to work with friends.
I do too, because we actually enjoy being around each other.
Right. And then it's not the, I have to go to work.
Yeah.
I mean, I still get like that, but mental health, fine.
That, and we don't like mornings here.
Yeah, no, we don't do mornings. This is about as early as we get.
And it's noon. It's afternoon.
It's fine.
She's finally awake, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
No, but I think you're right. I love that that I have a team that are also my friends, and there's been some pretty serious moments in life where you have been there for me when other people weren't there for me, and even when it came to business, like starting Media Rebel was, if I'm going to start something that my whole life is basically on the line, I want to have somebody that I know cares about it and me as much as I do. So, and same, like I want to give you the best possible workplace that you do look forward to going to, besides when you're cranky and need caffeine.
What it comes down to is I just need an IV of caffeine. It's fine.
Right.
But yeah, creating that environment that people enjoy coming into and can be comfortable in, and like come in their sweats when we don't have meetings, which is fantastic.
Or podcasts.
Yes, or podcasts. But yeah, I think just keeping that comfortable, healthy environment where people feel validated and valued and like they're heard is far and few between now, where most companies see their employees as numbers.
Right.
And if you want to leave, it's fine, whatever, we'll just grab the next person. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I completely agree. I also think that when you're a friend, you have to also be careful you don't take advantage of the person in the boss mode seat, that you're not just saying,
not being too harsh.
Right, yeah. But also not taking advantage and going, oh, okay, well, this person's my friend, so I can kind of say these things, or I can push this needle a little bit further, and I know that you experienced that when you were overseeing that person. So slam the door and yelling at somebody isn't something that we do around here. We don't have a hostile work environment. And I think when you're a friend, sometimes it can be easy to be a little bit more snippy with your quote unquote boss, because you've got to remember that there's still like this hierarchy and a level of respect that you need to give them, which you should give your friend anyway. Yeah. But not everybody does. So.
Yeah. And then you get that like weird, like, well, I know like it's teetering act, man. I'm telling you, like, you'll get snippy and be like immediately like, hey, we're gonna go apologize. Like, we don't yell, we don't scream here. Like, we're gonna treat you like an adult,
Right.
You're an adult, you know what to do. We don't need to babysit you. But like, there are those moments where like we'll get stressed over something, and like we'll take it out on each other, and like 5 minutes later we're like, hey, here's a piece of chocolate. Like, my bad.
Let me go grab you a Starbucks.
So let's go grab a snack real quick. Like,
are you just angry right now?
It happens, but
yeah. So what do you think your advice would be to somebody that's maybe thinking of hiring a friend to join them, in their company?
Definitely do like 100-foot view. Like, look at your friend's strengths, look at their weaknesses. How can they help your business grow? And is it a friend that you want to see all of the time? Like, sometimes like people do well with like long distance friendships almost, where like you only see them once or twice a month. Other people thrive when they see each other on a daily basis.
Right.
So I think it's really taking a step back and doing the hiring with your head, not your heart. Because I think sometimes we can get almost too emotionally invested and we aren't thinking at our clearest.
Right.
And then things just get muddled and messy, and you end up with messes.
What about if you're in the unfortunate seat of now you've decided you have to let them go and the position isn't working out? How do you go about doing that? Not that I'm letting you go. Let me just say that.
Plot twist. This is our first and last episode, folks.
But in the unfortunate, circumstance, somebody says, look, this isn't working out. I still want to be your friend. But I don't think that this is the right position for you. I mean, what's that like when you have to have a conversation? You don't want to ruin your friendship. Is that person going to be open to hearing that if that comes to
I mean, I think that's a case by case basis. Like, honestly, like, be honest, be upfront about it, but also, like, don't be a dick. Like, be like, this is where I'm coming from. You know, X, Y, and Z is what needs to happen. You can either find a new position for that friend, you could let them go completely and help them out on a different, you know, work journey. It just, not everybody is meant to do everything,
Right.
or we would all be robots.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
But I mean, everybody has their own unique talents that fit different roles. Not everybody likes talking to people. Some people just want to be in their office, door shut, headphones on, doing their thing. I get it. I'm like that most days.
Yeah.
But I think just being honest and having that conversation with them and being like, you know, this isn't a personal attack. This is what's best for the company, what I think is best for you right now. Like, let's take a step back. Let's reevaluate. And I think coaching goes a long way too.
Yeah.
So you don't get it to that point where you have to essentially seem like a bad friend because you have to let them go because they're not fitting into whatever role that they were put into. I think coaching and listening is a huge thing because, like, somebody could be trying to fit into a role and it's not working, it's not clicking.
Yeah.
And, you know, going through and helping, making sure they have all the tools that they need, making sure they have an ear that they can bend if they're getting frustrated. And if those frustrations don't get approved upon, find something else for them.
Right.
Or move on. Because nobody wants to waste their time. We only have this one life to live. You want to make sure that, you know, your time is being as valuable as everybody else's.
Yeah, I think you're right. Keeping communication open is really important. And if you already have a friendship built upon good communication, that makes it more successful when they come on to work with you. And it's never like my first thought is, oh, they're not a good fit for the company. Like you said, sometimes it's just they're not a good fit for the position that they signed up for because you don't always know. And I think that just like every business in general could hear this. You don't always know if the position suits a person, and the person doesn't know if it suits them until they're in it.
Yeah.
And then once they're in it, it's okay to change that position and tailor it more centric for that particular person. It's not always a bad person, it's just not always a great position.
Yeah.
So I think more businesses should think that way. They'd be more successful. You wouldn't have such high turnover. You'd have happier employees.
And healthier work environment.
Yeah, mental health would be so much better. And I know it's something that we really value here. Like, you know, if you're like, hey, I'm having a bad mental health day, go take a day for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want you coming into the office. I don't want anybody coming into the office when they're having a bad day. And I think that's really important that we just keep that communication. You know, we hold one-on-ones every once in a while just to make sure, you know, we get busy with the day-to-day stuff. So we set aside some time to actually sit down and have that really in-depth conversation of how are you feeling right now in your position? What can I do to make this better for you? Is there something you don't like I can give to somebody else? That's really important.
Yeah, I think delegating is also a huge thing because
yes,
you feel like you have to take so much on and like constantly stay busy. Sometimes we have slow time, and that's okay. Our bodies and our brains need slow time.
I know mine doesn't like it. Mine goes.
Neither does mine.
You're not okay being slow. You're supposed to do.
That's ADHD and anxiety though that we're going to touch on in another episode.
Right, it segues perfectly. Yeah.
But it just. I think delegating and knowing what you can handle is a huge tool in your tool belt.
Yeah.
It makes everything so much easier.
I completely agree with that. I think we're going to wrap up our first episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed learning a little bit about Alyssa and myself and
our ramblings.
Our ramblings of Media Rebel. But no, really, hopefully you all found value in having, do you have friendships at work, and have you ever hired a friend? You know, is it something that you can relate to? Hopefully this is helpful for you.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys next time. And
thanks for tuning in to Media Rebel Unplugged. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and join the rebellion. So stay bold, stay caffeinated, and we'll catch you next time.